back to the Divine Creatrix Circle. I can't wait to jump into this subject. Today we're answering the question how to deal with knowing what you know and seeing your loved ones not knowing what you know. So, in other words, how to deal with seeing your loved ones, friends, family, maybe being in patterns that don't serve them while you are taking responsibility for your life and not being able to help them see life differently or act differently for their highest good. If you're joining this live, let me know in the chat where you're joining from. I'm just gonna double check that everything is running smoothly and we will dive in deeper. Great. It's definitely a lesson that I had to learn the really, really hard way in my life. Even though I've learned that lesson really early on in my life. So, to give you a little backstory in my journey and how I went through this, I have an older brother that has been dealing with addiction pretty much his whole life. So, starting like 5 years old, he was really having problems of addiction because we're 10 years apart. And so my whole childhood has been affected with that pattern and seeing him go well, fall back, go well, fall back. And so personally, I dealt with that situation with the best tools I had at the time. And so I remember at 16 years old, so after 10 years of experiencing that and wanting to save him and helping but not being able to, one day I remember I was in high school and something had happened and he was clearly back in the same pattern. Like he had been sober for a while and then he fell back into his addictions. And I was so fed up. Because I used to be the peacemaker of my family. So I was always the one who would try to help him see clearly because he valued me and he saw me as his little sister. So he always wanted to protect me. And so because of that, the way he was seeing me, I had more of a weight or influence on him when it came to that compared to my parents. So hi for the people joining. I'm diving deep into my journey and how I was able to deal with the fact that people around me don't see the same things and seeing them maybe be in destructive patterns and not being to help them and how to deal with that. So I remember, I was the peacemaker trying to help him see things differently. Sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't. And so sometimes he would choose to go to rehab and sometimes the pattern would just continue for a while. So I remember at 16 years old, something had happened, some chaos in my home after he came, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but I remember I was so fed up and I was like, oh my God, I'm so over this. It's never gonna end. It's always gonna be this way. I wish it would be different, but clearly it isn't. And I'm so over this. And I remember in that split second, I just decided that I did not care anymore and that it was not my problem anymore. And so I just cut off everything. And for me, the hopes that it would get better just were threw out the window. I was like, this is what it is. I must be ready for this for the rest of my life. this is going to be this, like it's been forever. Like I cannot do anything anymore. I don't care. And as much as it was a bright solution for my own survival and not be drenched in that chaos every time and have my hopes down every time that I would wish something would change and it wouldn't, it was not the best way to deal with the situation. And I actually became aware of this later in my journey. Because at that moment, when I just cut the cord of caring for that dynamic or my brother in that situation, I just cut off a big part of me that resulted in me literally not remembering anything about my high school till this day. It's really hard for me to remember my high school and things that happen, teachers. I have a lot of friends, yes, to this day that I'm really close to that were with me in high school, and they were like, they often are like, oh, do you remember this when this happened? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember. So yeah, not so long ago, I saw a fascia therapist, and we were talking about that because some triggers came back to the surface not long ago. And as I was explaining all of that, she really explained to me that it was really bright for me to do these things because some people, and that's where your own discernment has to come in play. Some people, it's better for your survival, and some people in your life are here to teach you to choose yourself. And so in that moment, I chose myself, but I did choose myself more in a I don't have a choice. I have to survive. I'm going to cut everything. And since I was kind of young, I didn't have any tools to be like, okay, I'm detaching from this dynamic, but I don't have to cut everything and like leave a piece of me with that pattern. Growing up, I was able to redo this pattern in a more healthier way, even though I had to learn it the hard way. Until I learned the lesson, which was at the end of my toxic relationship that ended in 2020. Again, I was in a pattern that I wanted to save my ex. I wanted to help him. I wanted to for him to move in the same direction that I was moving. And he had gambling problems and was losing all his money plus my money, and I kept giving him my money because he was literally how to say, at the verge of a crisis every time he would lose his money. But at that time, I would not see that was a kind of manipulation for me to take my energy, my time, my efforts, and try to fix his reality. And so after that relationship ended, and I was literally worse than when I started that relationship, it was really clear to me that I could not save anyone but myself. It became really, really clear to me that this journey of life is about becoming your best self and stepping in your own divine creatrix powers and your own sovereign seat of consciousness. And as much as it is hurting to see people you love, people that you care about, being in patterns that are destructive and not serving them, we cannot save anyone but ourselves. It's a hard pill to swallow. It's a hard pill to swallow, but once you fully integrate this truth, is when you gain freedom and when you finally become your best self. Because you cannot be fully in charge of your life if you're always trying to fix everyone else's problems and try to change those problems for them. For me, the biggest realization to really grasp this concept and be able to let go of that charge that was clearly not benefiting me and clearly not for my highest good. It was actually the opposite, me trying to save people around me, was creating negative problems in my life all the time. And I know there's a part of us that maybe are carrying the wound of rejection, the wound of abandonment. And so, because we're so afraid to be abandoned or rejected by someone we love, we try to do everything so they don't feel like you will reject them or you will abandon them, especially in times of chaos and difficulty in their lives. And so not only I was playing my own wound of abandonment with my brother, with often friends around me, with my ex, of trying to save them so that they feel that I will not abandon them, and because they know that I'm always there for them and doing everything I can, I hope they will do the same for me. And the truth is that when people are in their trauma, in their difficulties, they often end up triggering that wound in you. And so you feel rejected, you feel abandoned, because their own behaviors and their own ways of being are literally going against what you want and against a dynamic in a relationship that will make you feel chosen, respected, and safe. Although I was giving my money to my ex in order for him to feel like I was there for him and that I will always have his back, every time he will lose money and act in this way, he was not having my back and he was not having his own back. And the reason I say that it's impossible to save someone is because you cannot save somebody that doesn't want to be helped. And that is I've talked about this before, and that is the first rule of the universe, and it is free will. Free will. You cannot influence someone that doesn't want to be influenced in that direction. If they're choosing victimhood, and you're trying to help them see empowerment, help them see sovereignty, they will not move in that direction if they keep choosing victimhood. Like attracts like, and they are the own creator of their lives, and so they cannot be influenced by external parties because they have free will. You have free will, they have free will, and that is the first law of the universe, which means that they can choose what they want. Sorry. They can choose what they want, even though it's not working in their highest good. And that is why we came here, to experiment and grow. And some people, it takes more time. Some people, their whole life is the lesson, and we are not in control of that. We are only in control of our free will, where we put our energy, what we put our attention, and how we deal with those situations ourselves. And in the moments where we are struggling with the pain, the hurt of seeing the people we care about struggling and being in an unconscious state of being, repeating repeating patterns that are destructive or not helping them, we feel like we need to shake them, and we wish that they change because their pattern is creating pain, suffering in ourselves. But I want to invite you to see that dynamic differently, because more often than not, as much as it is painful, your need for them to change for their highest good is not your soul talking, it's your ego. As I said in the beginning, the reason I was so desperate trying to help my brother, my exes, or anyone that was in my reality, and that I could see were suffering, my desperate need to save them, the secret complex, was a wound from the ego, not the soul. is a wound from my human experience where I felt rejected, abandoned. And because I was carrying that wound, I was doing everything I could to not suffer in the same way and acting from an unconscious state of beingness, of awareness, and trying to not feel that pain. And often, when your ego is trying to avoid the pain, it's because there's something there for you to become aware of. We think that if we try to save them, it's because we want their highest good, and it's part true. But the reason we want their highest good is because we want to stop the suffering we feel because they're acting in a certain way. And so we want them to act in a certain way so that pain goes away, so that we don't have to deal with that any longer, so that we don't have to suffer any longer. But the reality is that as long as something external to you is controlling how you feel about life yourself and how you react to life, you're not in control of your life. You're in the effect of life instead of being at cause. And I've said this again in another life. The law of attraction is working because many other laws, including the law of cause and effect. So everything that is in the effect is in the cause. Meaning that if you keep repeating the same things and you keep being in relationships where you have to play the savior, that is the effect, the result, the external result, it's because what's in the effect, is in the cause, meaning you. And that is how I had to really, really become honest with myself after the relationship with my ex ended and I had giving him all my money. I was spending hours and hours every day, or many hours per week, every time he would lose money and be in crisis, be with him by his side. I would drop everything I was doing. At that time I was writing my first book, I was building my business. And so every day I would drop everything that I would do to help him, And I was desperate to help him because I don't want it to feel that pain anymore. And I had giving all of my energy, all of my time, all of my money, my resources, energetically, mentally, emotionally. I had given my all. And I ended up worse off than him, and he would continue to abuse me financially even after the relationship ended. And so it is then that I really realized you could give everything you have. You could give everything. You can literally give your freaking own life to the other person, and they still don't change. Why? Because of free will. Their lives is their lives, your life is your life. And I know, again, it's a hard pill to swallow for the ego, because the ego wants to be in control, because the ego doesn't want to feel left off, because the ego doesn't want to feel abandoned and rejected, and is trying to avoid this pain in any way it can. Any way it can, it will try to avoid that pain, because that is the pain of separation. But when you step into your divine self, when you step into your divine creatrix power, your divine creatrix perspective, you understand that everything is connected and that everyone around you is just a reflection of yourself. Everything that happens all the time is just a reflection of yourself. And so when you're trying to save someone else because you want them to save themselves, and you're seeing someone not saving themselves and doing destructive behaviors, and you're in a relationship, constant relationship with those people, with those dynamics, then it's just a little hint, a little reflection, a little mirror showing you where you're not choosing yourself, where you're abandoning yourself for others, where you're abandoning yourself for something outside of you. And as long as you keep doing that, unfortunately, you keep reinforcing their own patterns. Unconditional love is not unconditional tolerance. That's really, really different. So when you keep tolerating behaviors that should not be tolerated because they are not serving you and that are hurting your life, your energy, your mental state, your emotional state, and you keep accepting that because you want to save them, you want to help them, you're not in your power. And that's the hard pill that I had to swallow, and that's the way that I had to learn it the hard way, is that I thought that I was pure and I was doing and everything and I was loving and I was like the best partner, but I was not. I was not. I was literally co-creating that reality with him. And now I'm talking about my ex. I was co-creating that reality with him, because instead of letting him being in his power and be like, you created that for yourself, like I can be there for you and I'm gonna support you while you find the solutions, but I won't fix it for yourself because you were the one creating this, so my money is mine. Like, I want to help you, I want to support you, but this is a limit for me. This is not something I can do for you, because that means that if I do that, I then put myself in your shoes and in your situation, and then we are both not better off. We're both going down the drain. Instead of me staying here and holding space so that you can come back, we're just both going down the drain. And if I would have done that, being like, I'm sorry, I cannot give you my money because I can't. I work for that. I need it. I'm building my own business. I cannot take that risk. I cannot give you all my savings because my vision is to create a business. And for now, that is what is supporting my dream. Then he would have no choice but to step up. But instead of that, because I was giving him my money again and again and again, he didn't have to take responsibility for his problems, because he would always be saved by someone else. And when it wasn't me, it was his family. When it was his family, it was his friends. And at that time, I was literally oblivious of what was happening because I was in my own wounding. I was in my own trauma, childhood trauma, and playing that out. And so I was not being able to see that and what was happening in real time, because I was in that pain of, oh my God, I want to save him. He's suffering. I need to help him. I'm his girlfriend. I need to help him. That's what I am here for. I'm here to sacrifice myself for him to be okay. And that's what I learned to do in my own family. Not only with my brother, but with my dad as well, and even my mom. That is the role I took on, because that's what I learned to do unconsciously. And because life loves you so much, and the universe loves you so much, and is always, always, always moving you in the direction of your dreams, of your biggest expansion, it won't let you slip off. Meaning that when you keep repeating the same patterns, it's not because the universe hates you. It's not because it's working against you. It's because it loves you so much that it's putting everything in front of you so that you take responsibility, so that you literally step in your sovereign power. Just like them. But if you keep avoiding the obvious and playing the patterns of suffering again, then you're just creating more suffering for yourself to deal with. You're just putting more mirrors showing you where again, yet again, you're abandoning yourself. And the beautiful thing is that when you finally choose to see the truth, to be radically honest with yourself, then everything changes like that. Like that. I kid you not. When did that decision for myself, when I was like, I'm over saving people, I'm only saving myself, I'm only choosing myself not on. And that doesn't mean that I'm heartless and that I don't support people that I love, of course. But I won't play the dynamic of their victimhood with them. I'm gonna be the reflection of being like, I'm here, strong in my sovereign power. And if you want love, I'm gonna reflect back to you where you're not choosing love for yourself. And so I won't act as if everything is okay. And if you want to receive support with me, I'm gonna be honest. I won't fix your problems for you. You have that power. And the thing is that you're not loving, you're not caring when you believe they don't have the ability to save themselves so much that you have to fix their reality for them. That is not love. That is control. That comes from the ego, and that is you moving and trying to go from the back door in order for them to act differently so that you feel better. And there's a difference between being selfish in terms of having strong boundaries and being selfish of your own vision. And often people see that as being egoistical, being in your ego of like having strong boundaries and being like, I don't accept this, I don't accept this, I want to be respected, I don't accept this kind of behaviors. Often people will treat you of see you as selfish because you're honoring yourself. And that's really healthy to have, to know your worth, to know where your egoistic reality is, where it ends, when someone else's begins, and being able to know the difference. That is my control, which is me, my life, how I feel, how I want to be treated. And then if they don't act this way, then I cannot do anything. I can accept them in my life, or I can choose to move on and only open myself for relationships and dynamics that support my highest good and those boundaries. Or I can love them from a distance. For me, of course, I understand that there's different things. Like for my ex, it was really clear. I'm going to finish my thought because I didn't finish it. But for my ex, it was really clear that that kind of partners what was not for my highest good, and I clearly had to clear that out forever. And in other situations like my brother, that is my family, I'm not gonna X him out. But if I had to, I would, even if it's family, even if it's blood. Because again, if you keep abandoning yourself for a rule or a condition, you're not acting for your highest good, and you're not helping them either. That is what we have to integrate. Even though it's painful, even though you will be judge job judge, even though you will maybe be criticized because you choose to have boundaries, you will not help them until you have strong boundaries and save yourself. Because again, everything is connected, everyone is a mirror in front of you. And so if you keep playing their same dynamic, you're not helping them. You're not giving them their power back so that they act differently. And maybe they won't, because that's their free will. And that's out of our control. If we trust that life is always supporting us, even those who choose to not wake up in this lifetime are moving in their highest path of evolution. So when I chose to literally choose for myself, I'm only saving myself, choosing myself. That's where I was on. I'm going to continue on this after. Literally every potential partner when I started dating after my ex was completely the opposite of what I used to attract. Because now I was in the energy, in the emotional state, mental state, spiritual state of reflecting back that dynamic. Before that, I was reflecting back another dynamic because that's what I was playing inside of me. I was abandoning myself for everything and everyone and every rule, every condition that was external. And then I decided to clear all of that out and be like, I'm the most important thing in my life. And I am the creatrix of my life, the creator of my life. And so as long as I keep acting out of alignment with that, I will continue to experience that in my external reality. And that's all it really took, all to shift my point of attraction. And it's not always simple because for me to be able to be in that state and at that level of sovereignty, I had to heal the trauma that I was carrying since I was a child. I had to take responsibility for that. And so I was investing in myself with coaches, doing hypnosis every week, literally seeing a coach every week, so that I was able to release that and step into my most divine self. Without that process, I would continue to choose unconsciously those patterns because that's the only thing I knew back then. But the moment I became aware and being like, this is not working, this is not for my highest good, how come I keep repeating the same pattern? That is really curious. And I became aware of the power of the unconscious mind. I understood that I had to go to the root. I had to go to the cause. So I was no longer just in the effect. I had to come back and be the cause. And that for me was taking responsibility for the trauma and changing the narrative and being the change, not only in my lineage, because if I was experiencing that, it meant that I had learned it from someone who learned it, from someone who learned it, and we don't know how far it goes down the bloodline. But if I was aware of it and willing to change, that meant that I was the one stopping the thing to go even further. And for me, it was really important because I didn't want my children to have to deal with the same things. We don't learn when we're kids by the things we are being said. We learn by modeling. And so even if you have the best parents and loving and caring parents, but they keep abandoning themselves in relationships and situations in life, you will model that. Not because they tell you things, because you see them acting in a certain way and you create your own map of the world from what you're experiencing and the authorities around you. So that's that. And the other thing I wanted to say that I was going there is like, when you're in your divine self perspective, when you're seeing life from a sovereign place, you understand that you can only control your life. The only thing that is in your control is how you react, how you act, how you think, how you feel on a daily basis. Everything else is out of your control. Is out of your control. And so when you see people not waking up, repeating the same patterns again and again and again and again, even though everyone around them is doing everything to support them, help them so they change, and they don't, is because from a higher and broader perspective, maybe, just maybe, they chose to not wake up in this lifetime. Maybe, just maybe, this lesson of this lifetime is what will help them grow as a soul, as a spiritual being. And so they have to experience the pain of never waking up. They have to experience what it feels like, what it is to stay in suffering, to stay in separation. And the truth is that we don't know what are their destiny. We don't know what they chose as a soul to experience. And so as much as I have faith per se that everyone can change at any moment in a split second, I do believe that really deeply in my core. I know change is possible and anything can happen, miracles can happen at any second. I'm also really aware and really clear that everyone's journey is their journey, and not everyone came here to ascend in higher realms of consciousness, because that is a journey, that is a choice in your broader journey as a soul. That is a choice you get to make when it's for your highest good. And so from the aspect of polarity, duality, this is good, this is bad, in this earthly realm, in the realm of physics, we are used to see things are black and white and being like, but you're ruining your life, you're doing this. And this is true. When you have experienced the freedom, the ease, the love, the magic that comes with choosing what is for your highest good, you know. But you don't know what you don't know. And for us, for those who have come to the realization that it is for our highest good to take responsibility and to believe in magic and to create a most magical reality, if you're here, you know that. But everyone that's not here and that is not valuing that and prioritizing that in their lives don't know that. And you don't know what you don't know. When I was in that relationship and doing all of those things, when I was in my childhood doing all of those things, repeating those patterns, I didn't know any better. And life moved me in the direction and the scenarios and the circumstances in an orchestrated way that I would reach the overload, the maximum I could tolerate of that. And I'm really grateful that all of us came to this realization and went as deep as we could go in that direction before we would be overloaded with I'm over this. I'm really glad that I hit that point. But as a soul, I also know that everyone's journey is their journey. And as frustrating as it is to see them suffer because we know the way out, we know what it is to not suffer, to not live in separation. We know that. But we don't know what is for their highest good. We don't know as a soul what is for their highest good. So for them, having a life of suffering, being stuck in patterns that don't serve them, is the lesson in itself. And that we don't have control. And that we don't have the truth. So the best we can do is continue to choose ourselves daily and be the example of what we see. Because that was a question that I received. How to deal with knowing the things you know and you see your loved ones that don't know. I get excited when the universe shows me the better way, when I see the magic, but then I see them telling themselves stories and it hurts. If it's my mom, best friend, or even one of my child, how to deal with that? That it was the full question I received, and the truth is that the best way you can deal with that is choose yourself. Be the example. Be the walking evidence of what is possible when you see magic, when you believe in magic, when you embody magic. They don't know what they don't know, so you can tell them and tell them and tell them, but it's gonna get in one ear, get by the other. It will not be processed. But they have much more chances than to feel themselves in that pattern, because they have no choice, because not everyone is doing that for them. And they're like, okay, wait, this is what I've created, and I have no longer a choice but to feel it, because now someone else is not trying to relieve the discomfort for me, trying to save me. And so I don't have to face myself, because I always have people around me taking off the discomfort and saving me. And so I don't have to change, because I'm always good. I'm always better off no matter what I do, even if I do it in a way that is not serving me. Someone just came to the door. So that's what we have to realize. A second. Well, we'll have some barking in the background. In the meantime, I don't know what's going on. I think someone is at the door, maybe the delivery. But what I was saying, when we realize that trying to save someone is just trying to take their responsibility and move it away so that they don't have to face it, you understand you're doing a disservice to them by saving them. Because as long as they don't feel, don't experience their own creation, they don't have to. They don't have to. And so, as much as it is painful for you to witness that, then that pain is just showing you how you can even embody, how you can better embody what you believe, how you can be a better example of that, which means continuing to choose yourself even in those situations. Because the truth is that it's only your ego that feels the hurt. Your soul knows. Your soul knows that your job is not to save anyone. Your soul knows that your job is to choose yourself and to expand yourself and move in the direction of your dreams, and to continue to believe in magic, breed magic, create magic. And by doing that, by you becoming the example of what you see, then they can see it too. They can finally see it in the reality. Wait, this person was at the same place that I'm in right now. She was at the same place at some point in their lives, because I know them. And now they created all of this. They created abundance, they changed their lives, they are feeling free, being in loving relationships where there's no chaos, no trauma, bonding, all of that. And they're like, wait. Now they have an example that maybe they didn't saw before that, which kept them in that loop because they only thought that reality was this thing. Now, because you embody and breathe that, you are a walking evidence of what is possible when you see, believe, and breathe magic. And some could say that it is selfish. But some could also realize that you're being selfish when you're only trying to make yourself feel better by trying to control everyone around you to change so that you don't have to face your own responsibility, your own patterns. And so that is the hard pill people want to integrate or understand. Creating magic means that you do not move in the direction that is not moving you towards magic. It means that you sacrifice your ego, you sacrifice your pain of separation, and you keep devoting yourself to magic, to oneness, to everything. And people won't understand that because they don't know. And it's okay, but you know. So continue showing up, continue choosing yourself, and you will have much better chances to positively influence those around you when you've proved them, show them, not prove them, because it's not about trying to prove to anybody else, but you will be the proof to them that magic is possible. And that's the better way, that's the best way you can influence them positively, to be the example of what is possible. So I hope this was insightful. For sure, like I could go on and on about this for hours because it is and it still is the biggest and most magical lesson of my life. And that's how I was able to manifest my soulmate and be in a loving, conscious, and healthy relationship, because I decided to choose myself. And I decided to no longer settle for less than that. And if it wasn't for that choice, for that decision that I made to be selfish with my own energy and what I wanted in my own vision, then I would continue to play out that pattern and continue to be busy trying to save my partners instead of saving me. You can only save yourself. And that applies for everyone. Everyone can only save themselves. I hope you have a magical week. I'm so excited for what is to come and for the next Divine Creatrix Circles. There's so many juicy questions coming my way. If you have any questions like this one or in any other topic about manifestation, soul alignment, healing, drop them here in this video, whether you're on Facebook or on YouTube. Let me know here so that I can answer them in future little circles like this every Monday. And if this is talking to you and you're tired over it, you're in that phase of your life that you cannot deal with those type of patterns anymore, but you don't know how to shift, you don't know how to move from your limited self perspective, from your wounded self, and step in your divine self, then I would highly suggest to check out the Divine Calling. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. Thanks to you. I appreciate you a lot too. Thank you for being here every time. That shows devotion and commitment, and that is choosing yourself differently. Definitely. And what I was saying is that if you feel like you don't know how, you're tired and over it of being always in those situations and always caught up in wounding and trauma, and you don't know the way out, the beautiful thing is that you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to do it alone. I didn't do it alone. I invested in myself and surrounded myself with mentors and people that could help me and didn't know how. And that is the magic of personal development and becoming your best self, is that now we have people and information available like this that can help us see things differently, that can show us the way, because people have done it before us. And so we don't have to hit our head against the wall again and again and again, because we know that something else is possible. And if that is talking to you, then I'm just dropping this here so that maybe you start looking into this and informing and seeing if that is a match for you. But I'm ending the first container of Divine Calling, which is a 8-week group coaching program where you learn to let go of the unconscious root of what is keeping you small and how to step in your most divine self. It's an 8-week program, which means that we will see each other every week for 8 weeks, where you will receive coaching, receive codes to really step into your most divine self and how to do it with ease and confidence. So if that is something that is calling you, the next group is starting in September and the doors are opening now, are now open. I'm going to drop you the link so that you can look it up and see if that is a fit for you, whether it is right here, right now, or in the future, because I know that I will keep running that program again and again because it's truly the magic where the magic happens. And it's truly all the teachings that have helped me truly step into my most divine self and be able to create the life of my dreams, literally. And so that program is really the signature program where I dive deep into the things that help me move from my limited self perspective into my divine self. So you have the link there, click it, you can look it up. If you have any questions, again, about that, you can DM me or send me an email easily. You can find it in the link in my bio. But if not, it's not a question about this specifically, please let me know in the comments. I love having your opinions. I love having your feedback, and I'm here for you. So that is perfect if I can serve you directly in answering questions and giving you tips that will help you in your daily day life. So again, thank you so much for joining. I'm so grateful to have you, and I'm so grateful that we get to co-create magic together, because again, we don't have to do this alone. And if you're here in this community, it's not random, it's not a coincidence. Life directed you exactly here and now so that you received exactly what you needed right here, right now. And so let's be grateful for the divine unfoldings that are always leading us to our best expansion. So with that, I wish you a beautiful day, and let's remember again and again and again. I say it again, but I'm gonna say it again. Every day is an opportunity to create magic. Let that sink in, and let's move from there. Every day is an opportunity to create magic. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next